All right, folks, this is the third activity of week 7, the CAD course in winter of 26. Uh, we are asked to create a design table which is associated with this part on the right hand side. And notice that of the 3 activities that I've done today, 1 and 2, did not involve anything on material or serial number. It also, or part name, for example. It only involves stuff with dimensions such as length, angle, etc. But now what you want to do, the design table that you would like to create should have in it material and the name of the part. Now, I also want to remind you that this year, in this offering of the course, the design table problem that I do is I start creating the part, nominal part, and from that nominal part, I generate a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet or design table. Other years, I may have done it so that the design table was given to you as an Excel spreadsheet, and you have to create a part and basically link the two together. That is not what we're doing this year. Okay? So let's go ahead and create our design nominal part based on, for example, these dimension, this first row. Let me go ahead to CATIA and start with a part file, and I'm going to start in part design because this is not a surface problem. I don't have to go to generative shape design, but I'm going to start with part design, okay? Because we're making a 3-dimensional part. So let me switch to my part design. Very good. Now the nominal part that I'm going to make on that vertical plane, I will sketch something that looks like that, a trapezoid basically. Yep. Like so. And let me dimension these things because later on we want to create our design table. I forgot what my units were. Let me see. My units seems to be in inches. Therefore, to make my job easier, let me go and switch right now. So tools, options, parameters and measure per millimeter. I'm going to switch to inches. Okay. Let me make the dimensions here that I need. So for example, this is one of the things that we're going to go in our design table. And incidentally, that thing right now, by the look of it, if I rely on the first row, is 8. Okay, so let me make this thing 8. All right, and this thing is going to be 10. That's going to be later on in L. Okay, oops, what did I do? 10. Very good. I can move this thing here. Now, the nominal angles that I have here are, let's see now, beta is 60 and the other one is 70. So let's go do that. So dimension between this and that. Try again. Dimension between this line and this line. That's going to be 60. This is going to be my beta. And this angle from here to here, that's going to be 70. Very good. So unless I made a mistake, this should be these dimensions, 10, 8, yep, 70 and 60. It looks okay. Good. Now we're going to exit. Now notice that the thickness of this is given as a constant number, 2 inches. So it's not a parameter, I just make it 2 inches. And then we're going to create our circles. On the top, we will sketch a circle, dimension it, because later on that's going to be our top. I want to make sure that this is exactly halfway. So one way of doing that, that's one way is, for example, let me try this. I select this point. The different ways of doing it, that all depends on how you want to approach this thing. That point controls this point. Let me do it a different way. This line control that line, control the center is going to be equidistant. Same thing with the left and right. Left line, control right line. Oops, try it again. Left line, control right line, control the center, and once again equidistant. Okay, very good. Exit. And we're going to pocket this thing all the way through to last. Good. Now I also want to draw a circle on this face. Okay, I'll draw a circle and dimension it. I can do to center this thing, I can do exactly the same thing that I did before. Let me try a different thing, a different way of doing it, see if it's working. So I select this point, control that point, control the center of the circle, and let's see if we can do equidistant. Yeah, equidistant, that will eliminate the need to do the other side. Okay, because if this point is halfway between these two corners, it's going to be also halfway between those two corners. So exit, and then we're going to go and pocket it again all the way to last, and we see okay. So it's going to be the situation. Okay, good, good. Now, because later we want to add material to this thing, we want to use it in our design table, we have to apply some dummy material now. So we click on it, and that part, to make it completely dummy, why don't I make it out of steel so that I don't have to fool around with the first row. Okay, so let's go ahead and apply steel on that part, and then we say okay. So what we have done is to create a nominal part. Now we're going to do the renaming. Let me remind you, strategy one that I'm following this year is based on renaming things, okay? So let me go ahead to f of x and click on the part. This, I want to call it B. So I select that, I'm going to call it big B, okay? That 10 that you see here, I want to call it big L, big L. Okay, this dimension up there or top, or top. This dimension on the side, I'll make it R side, R side. Apply the angles. Now, you might say, okay, where are those angles? Well, they're here. This is beta, yeah, beta, and the one on this side is alpha. This one is alpha. This is how I spell it. Apply. Okay. Now you can always check and see that these are your rename parameters. Okay. Now, there's one other thing that I want to do, and that is, let me say all. If you go here, you're going to find material. If you go scroll down, you will find material right there. I want to call this thing big MAT because look at how it appears in my table. I want like that. So I essentially renamed that material to MAT. Okay, apply. One more thing, part number right here. I want to call this thing serial number. Serial number. So let me go ahead here. See that? Serial number. And then apply. The only thing is that because of the pathway, because of the path that I'm taking, path meaning scenario one that I'm following, This part one, I can't get rid of it. It's going to stay there, but it's going to be serial number. So that first column is, likely it's going to be part one serial number. Okay, that's fine. All right, and yeah, and then you say okay. All right, so that's the second step, namely renaming stuff. And now we're going to go to design table. I want to remind you that you're creating the design table. So it's the second radio button. And then we say okay. And I say rename. In other words, all the stuff that I renamed, I want it to go into my the heading of my spreadsheet. So first serial number, then material. What do I want next? It's possible to rearrange these to LB, L, B, or top, or side, alpha, beta. And then I'm going to fold it in this folder, call it activity number 3. And I want to remind you that when it comes to the final in design table problem, you not only have to give us the part, but you also have to give us the design table, okay, spreadsheet. That's very important. If you don't give us the Excel spreadsheet, you're not going to be able to mark your problem. Okay, so this is fine, except that I have to make some same changes here. So you go to edit table, couple of things. First of all, this part, the serial number, I want it to be, what is that? AAA? AAA. 10 is correct, 8 is correct. This one, I want it to be 0.5 and 0.5. And 0.5. And then you want to add additional rows. So BBB made out of, what is that? Out of, let's check, brass, uppercase B, everything else lowercase, RASS. If you write lowercase b, CATIA will not accept that. It says there's a typo somewhere. And these dimensions based on that table, let's see what we have here. 66.25. Okay. 6.25, 0.75, and I think these were 90s, right? 90 and 90. One more. CCC. I think this was gold. This is gold. This is 20. What else we have here? 20, 12, 0.75, 0.75, and then 60 and 60. Okay, don't forget to save it. You have to save. And as long as you put stuff here which make the sketches self-intersecting, etc., should be okay. And then once you save it, you have to close it. Otherwise, you can't proceed to the next step. Close it right here. Close. Wait to get the synchronization message. Okay. And look at what happened. So the first row, look at the name. The name is AAA. The material is steel. That doesn't surprise you because they did apply the steel. And these are the dimensions. And it's red because it has to, if you say apply, it's going to update that. There we are. You go to the second row. Notice that the name is BBB, material is brass, and these are the dimensions. If you say apply, it's going to look like that. I'll find it are 90 degrees. You can see that. You go to the last one. Notice that the name is CCC, material is gold, and if you say apply, it gives you the dimensions based on what you do. Now, if you put unreasonable number, it's going to come back and say, I can't do it.